Hi, you guys. Oh my god, my voice is shot. Oh my god. Okay. How are you guys doing today? I'm so sorry. I'm starting this with my voice shot. It's pretty normal. It is the end of the week from studio, so of course my voice is gonna be shot. And of course I'm filming after, so some things never change. I do have a subject for you guys, and we're gonna jump straight into it. You guys have received the other one really, really well. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight on to our subject of the day today. By the way, if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, DM me, message me either on Facebook, Instagram, for those of you over on TikTok, all those things. So yeah, just let me know. And I have had a few people message me about subjects, but that wasn't really anything that I felt like I could be talking about. Nothing that maybe I haven't experienced just yet, but yeah. So let's get into our subject. Alrighty. So let's jump straight into today's subject. Even though my voice is shot, I do have a filter on today because y'all, I've been in this makeup for like 10 hours and I need to take it off and jump in the shower after this, okay? Okay. Today's subject is going to be regret. Do I live in regret? And I'm going to start off with the answer being no. I do not live in regret. And I'm going to explain why on a couple of situations that have happened in my life that some people have said, oh, you're going to regret this, you're going to regret that. I've heard it the same time around, etc., etc. But I have been so encouraged to talk about regret because I hear a lot of people talk about it. And I'm like, I feel like we need a different perspective on it. I want to give mine. So yeah, let's jump straight into our subject of the day. All right, all right. Let's talk about regret. I probably should not be yelling, but it's echoing. Okay, guys. So living in regret. We're gonna start off. I don't ever live in regret. And I'm gonna tell you where I hear this from the most. And a lot of my women here are gonna crack up. I hear this a lot from my past relationships as far as romantic ones go, saying, if you leave, you're going to regret this. If blah, 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 you're going to regret this. And it's like every time it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So I'm going to start off with talking about a few situations that have happened in my life. And one of them, I'm going to start with my mom, my relationship with my mom, and how a lot of people would look at this and be like, I regret it, I regret it, I regret it. But I don't. And here's so my relationship with my mom was always very rocky from the very beginning. As I mentioned to you guys prior a couple of times, that I was supposed to be adopted and all of those crazy things. And my relationship with my mom, although to me it was very beautiful, and to my family, I don't know, I don't really care what they thought. I'm talking about all extensions of my family. I'm not just talking about my immediate family, my family I grew up around all the time. But my relationship with my mom was very rocky but very beautiful in a lot of ways. My mom was a very helicopter parent. My mom wanted to know the ins and outs of my life every single second of the day. So much so that she unfascinated me with the idea of going to parties and stuff like that, which obviously led me into highly disliking doing really any of those things that like a teenager does. Now, my mom put me through a lot. She really put a lot on my shoulders at such a young age. And a lot of times I couldn't talk to my mom about certain things, even though she was very feminine and she just, the way I explained to you guys before, the way she moved was like I aspired to be the way she did it. She was just, her timing was right every time. Even though it seemed like things were off and falling apart around her, trust me, that woman had power. Okay. And I aspire to have similarities in those ways. Now, when my mom passed away, I hadn't spoke to her in the first couple of months that I had moved out of state. Yes, I've moved out of state numerous of times. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Arizona for half a year. I went to Arizona for school, and The last time I saw my mom in person alive was 2 days or either the night before I was supposed to fly out. And I remember I went to her hospital room and stuff like that, and I fell asleep on the couch, like on the little seating thing, because she was in ICU, I think. Not ICU, I can't remember what she was in. She was in not the best condition, okay? And so I remember, I was like on like that kind of thing, right? Kind of like a couch. I fell asleep and I had the warmest dream ever. And I woke up and my mom was just staring at me. And we had this conversation about her letting me be free and finally releasing me to my own life at like 21 years old, you guys. Yes, my mom was finally going to let me live my life. And one thing, because I was vicariously lived through by my mom. And for whatever reason, this conversation was one of the most magical conversations I would have ever had with anyone, really. I had a lot of magical conversations with my grandfather, but with my mom, there was a lot, but nothing like that. It was like she almost knew she was about to leave the earth. And she was telling me, I just wanted you to be the best you could be. I wanted you to be the skinniest and the this and that and the that and this. And so that's why I pushed you so hard. Well, which is why I have, eating problems. Obviously, I feel like I'm really healing through that, by the way. Story through for another time, through another time, for another time. Okay, so we have this whole conversation. It was so warm and very angelic and relieving. I remember when I left that room, that feeling came over me. I knew that would be the last time I would physically see her in person. Prior to me leaving that room, this is very important. I asked my mom how she felt about me leaving Arizona. I told her I won't get on that flight. And I asked her, I said, "Do you think that because we were connected with extended family. I'm no longer connected with any of my family at this point. But my extended family asked her, how do you think they would feel because they were in my life and we were around them? And she said, don't worry about them. You take care of you. And I said, but what about you, mom? And she said, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. And she strictly said, it's your time. And I have done everything that I've needed to do for you. And it was like she was just putting it in the hands. You know what I mean? And God, I did why is this about not living in regret? Here I am emotional. Um I remember I went to my car after that and I bawled my eyes out. A really good friend of mine who's probably watching this right now, I'll never forget, I said, I won't ever see my mom alive again. When I get on that flight, that's gonna be it. And they're like, how do you know? How do you know? I said, I just know. And I remember I was walking through the hospital hallways, and I was just crying, crying, crying. I just knew, I knew, I knew. I got on that flight. Sorry. Gosh, why? Why am I emotional? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I had been in Arizona for a couple of days. My mom hadn't called me. When she called me, she said, how was your flight? I said, Mom, I've been in Arizona. I had already explored, I had already moved in, all that stuff. And yeah, I knew that was the ending for my mom. And I knew it was the ending for our relationship because she had like clicked and changed, because obviously she was beginning to pass over. And throughout that time, she would call me and hysterically and all that stuff. And the same thing she would do to me all the time. And I just couldn't put up with it. And for like a week or so, maybe even longer, I didn't answer the phone calls of my mom. Then she passed. This is where most people would regret. Okay. Do I regret not answering her in those last moments that she called me? No. Because when what she said to me in the hospital, that was it. She was done. She knew herself that she was relieving herself from that position, that motherhood. She was no longer going to be here. It was like she already knew. Try not to cry. But I don't regret it because my intuition was correct. That would be the last time that I'd see her in person. And I think if I would have answered those calls, those last few, it probably would have hurt me more because I would have already seen a different person. Her mind was already changing. She was already becoming somebody else. She was no longer my mom anymore. What I mean by that is she had a lot of lack of oxygen to her brain. So she was already passing. Okay. So, yeah, of course it was hard for me. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that phone call. And I remember I had finished a 7-page essay for a professor in Arizona. It was due like Sunday night. For whatever reason, I did it like Thursday and I completed all my schoolwork for that entire week and even some prior that had been given early. I'm not a procrastinator, by the way, you guys. When I get it done. Okay, for whatever reason, I got it done. Like I stayed up all night, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Saturday, my Theo calls me and says, D, your mom passed away. I don't regret it. Okay. I don't regret it at all. The next biggest thing that people tell me, well, just a few, are exes. And I laugh about this because I'm like, if I'm leaving you, why would I regret that? I feel like anytime I've gotten up and walked away from something, it's because it no longer served me. It no longer was anything good in my life. Why would I regret something that is not good in my life? There were a time or two where I could see high potential in things working, which I did not end that one or two things that happened. I knew maybe eventually I would leave. But part of being in particular circumstances is that it's both sides every single time. It's both sides every single time. And the one or two times, it obviously, I was like, man, I could really see this working or whatever it was, no matter what it was, if it was college or whatever it was, or a relationship or a friendship or something, whatever it was, you know what I mean? But when it comes to me, when I am ready to walk away from something, that's when it gets real dangerous because I'm done, done, done. Like I don't stick around. I'll tell you something. For the times that I've gotten up and chose to walk, okay, first of all, you have to work me up a lot, honey, because from a lot of what you guys know, I've been through a lot in my life. I can deal with a lot. I can handle a lot of pressure. I can work under high pressure, extreme, dangerous situations. I can function really well under that, which I think is trauma. I really laugh about it because I think it's like a trauma kind of response from what I'm hearing, but it's whatever to me. I don't pay attention to that. But yeah. You guys, when I'm ready to walk, that's it. There's no coming back for me. Okay. And that's in a lot of situations, right? That's like with college when I chose not to go to law school. That was huge. Oh my gosh. I was here to my family. Like, they was like, I'm sorry, what? You're not going to law school? So I'm not going to law school. I already did what y'all wanted me to do. It's my time. My mom already told me it's my time. You better watch out. All right. And so, yeah, I don't hold I could think back one day and be like, oh my god, this could happen, this could happen. No, it didn't work why am I regretting it? For what? For who? So you ready for the drum roll, you guys? The biggest reason I do not regret is because all of the people who passed that had a huge place in my heart and in my life and had a lot to do with my upbringing would not have left this earth wanting me to be unhappy, wanting me to live in regret. Some of the most nastiest, ugliest, worst characteristics you can ever have is jealousy, envy, regret, and laziness, another one. I don't want to be associated with any of it. None of it. None of it. I don't live in regret. I have seen life too short time and time again. I tell you guys this all the time. I tell you this all the time. I feel like I can't say it. I really can't say it enough. Like life is too short to feel that way. A lot of the village in my life that was very happy, they passed in my eyes happy because there was no regret with anything that they did. Even the most worst decision. Let me tell you, my grandfather was doing some gangster stuff. Okay? He was doing some stuff. Okay? I'm getting the hit across. He did some stuff. But he didn't regret it. That's why that man was 81 mowing the yard. That's why that man was 81 working out. Probably working out better than half of y'all 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, moving better than half of y'all 20-year-olds. You know what I mean? So, no, I do not regret. I do not live in regret. I do not think back, oh, I wish coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda. No. Take the risk, honey. Don't live in regret. We're going to do a little bit of a Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. So that is my subject of the day is regrets. Why I do not live in regrets. Simply, really, truly, simply, y'all. My grandfather wouldn't want me to feel that way. He wouldn't want me to blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's time with my grandfather that I listened to my family that did highly dislike me, disown me always. And they told me not to dance with my grandfather. I didn't dance with him. And while he was alive. And in a way, yeah, sure, I'm like, I should have did it, but I don't regret it because I had amazing memories with my grandfather. Like, I am 97% him in so many ways. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that subject and give you guys some encouragement. Keep moving forward strong, all right? And I love you guys so much. Be good to one another. Of course, always be kind to one another. Love one another. Give somebody a hug right next to you because you really never know what they're going through. And until next time, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next subject. Bye, 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 you guys.